Hello, hello, Rhoda here. Welcome to my craft room. Today we're working on the cover for the antique journal. And we have our rice paper. We have our background sheet, which is a 12 by 12, just regular scrapbook paper. And we're going to divide this in two triangles. I've got a few little cutouts over here that I'm going to choose from to add to this. I have some stamping I'm going to do with this little stamp. I have a sign to put on the front that says antiques. And I'm going to get the Sneaky Peek journal out. So I didn't get a chance to show you this. The last time we were together, I was showing my little paper bag journal. But this is my great-grandmother. And I couldn't believe how cool this old photo was. Now, my grandmother had a shoe box that had all the old photos in it. And it was, this was about the only one, I believe, that actually had a name on the back of it. It had Mrs. Polly E. Salmon's mother and child, I believe it was. It also had something else on the back, like a stamp, like the place that actually developed this, because it's a very professional shot. You've got the chair that little Lafayette is in. You've got a vase of flowers down here. And then she's got like a backdrop behind her. And she's very dressed up. I don't know if this was her own getup, but I thought it was the coolest thing. Now, I had like a little sticker pad that had like a hairbrush, hairpins, some perfumes and jewelry and stuff. And then it had like a dress and stuff. And I just put that on here. But I said Mary Elizabeth, a.k.a. Polly. Now, Polly is the common nickname for Mary. So, or Marie, Mary, Marie, Mariah, anything like that. Usually they use Polly. So if you ever see that, that's where that comes from. Like you see it on the census. She was a beautiful, fresh-faced girl here in this photo with her first child and firstborn son, Lafayette. Now, that's the other thing. There is a common, what do you call it? Where they do it over and over, like tradition. There we go. There's a common tradition, and I even have it on here. There's possibly a tradition either in the Mills family or the Salmons family to have a formal photo taken with your first son. Polly is the oldest photo I've seen reflecting this, and she also passed this on to at least 3 of her girls. Ida Bell, Rhoda, and Janie all have photos with their first sons in a traditional setting. This photo was taken about 1875, if judging correctly, that Lafayette is about 1 year and Polly was 22 years old. On the back of this photo was written in pencil, Mrs. Mary E. Salmons, Prest. And I don't know if that was Prestonsburg, but that's Kentucky. Whatever this was, it was West Virginia. Made with number 1, man, woman, and child. I'm still trying to figure out where this town was that she got a photo taken. And I would say Prestonsburg, but that's Kentucky. And it refers to a photo of a man who would have been Carter Salmons, but I never saw one. She looks innocent and carefree in this photo with an open expression, but after being married to Cart Salmons, she must have quickly became disillusioned, and we can see her making her frowning face in later photos. Oh my God. Oh, yes, that's what happens when you start researching. You can make a few assumptions, but don't make too many. All right, so here we go. As you can see what I meant by the frowny face. She's making the frowny face and all these. This is one of those chalk kind of drawings. And here she's with her sister, Emily. That they were both Mills. I think their mother was a Chaffins. I think so. Anyhow, I think this is one of the oldest photos I have of these two. Usually you see him with a beard. So I am not exactly sure when this was taken. My cousin had the photo and gave a copy to me. See, I said Cart Salmons was a good a no good scoundrel. No one knew what she could have seen in him, but on 18th December 1873, she married him. They had 3 children together. I think they had Lafayette, Mary Ellen, and Kelly, who was actually Kelly Markham Salmons. Now there was no Markhams in the family. This is my maiden name. This is the name that she gave him. I don't know if she's naming him after Kelly Markham, possibly after his father, because I mean I think she was broken up with Cart at this time, and getting ready to divorce him. Now, poor little Kelly, he died at a young age of 35. He was a merchant and had a country store in Kermit, and he was killed one day where he was robbed, and the thief caught the building on fire, erasing all the evidence. And there are some who say that they thought his father was the one who did it. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Now, I said here that Fred Salmons, this is my line. Cart is like Lafayette's daddy. But I said that Fred was a blacksmith by trade and had a shop up Jenny's Creek Road. But I don't think that was true. I think it was Stone Cold, because I always thought he lived up Stone Cold. I must have got my information mixed up by different people, you know. Let's see. I was told by Alex Salmons, oh yeah, who lived on Moribone, and that must have been, he meant actually Stone Cold. But Fred was my uncle. Alex said I had another uncle, Steve Salmons, that broke an axle in his car, a bright Model A, $350 for new, 31-inch wheels, Ford convertible. Fed had a blacksmith shop on the left-hand side of Jenny's Creek by Mudlick and welded it for him. I'm going to have to look more into that. By the time Steve got home, the axle had broken again. Steve said Uncle Fed can't weld a lick, so Steve went back to the blacksmith shop and got the axle so hot that it was dripping. He put both pieces together and hammered it all around, and it stayed together and never broke again. Steve said again, I told you Uncle Fed couldn't weld a lick. Okay. Enough of story time with my great-grandparents. Oh my goodness. So, let's get to working on our cover. And I need to clear the decks. I have all my papers. This is my cover with the actual folded Stamperia papers. Then I have these that I still need to cover with the other parts of the other rice paper pieces I've got. I needed 5 more because I had 6 pieces of rice paper altogether. And I'll just turn these over, and I'll probably do exactly the same process here. Now this is where I just took my brush and I took some vintage photo oxide and some ground espresso oxide. Now I did the vintage photo and I thought that looked too yellowy. So that's when I went back in with the ground espresso, and I kind of went over it and kind of darkened it a bit. So that's how I'll probably do each one of these. And I don't want to get too much water, or actually add water elements to this, because I don't want to really warp the papers. So I'll be doing probably mostly just the ink technique. This was the cutouts. That was the back page of the Stamperia pad. And so that's where I got the 2 lamps. And then I got a little box here with a little teddy bear. I'm trying to decide what to add to the front page of this. And then the rest of it I'll use throughout the rest of the journal. These are the cutout parts, or the journal cards, the tags, and the sayings that I still need to cut out. I don't think there's a saying up here that I really want. I think I'm going to just make it with this sign that I've chosen over here. I showed you before. Oh, I did order a couple more things, and I wanted to show you. This is Lindy's. I've been wanting these to try out. So I just got this one color, which is gold. I think it's gold. Does it even say it on here? Pixie, well, it says it's pixie dust, but the color, you know, I'm not seeing it. I think it just shows you the color on here, but it's a gold. I thought I could get the most usage out of a gold. So we're going to experiment with that one day. And I have that other paste that's still to be coming in. Lunar paste. Yeah. It's still on the arrival. Since it snowed, I don't know if it'll get here today or when. I also have this little couple of children. I'm still trying to figure out where I want to put them. I'll just play around with it here in a minute. Now this is a set, Hip Stamp Hooray. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby. I liked all the different things. You can do blocks here of like a solid color, and then you can do like if you did this in black, you could put over it in white and do like a heat embossing effect with that. You've got like this little stamp here. It's kind of like a jumbled up kind of long hand. And then I like this one. That is French, I believe. But I like how loose that looks. And so, yeah, we're just going to play around with that. Let me get in here and show you how you're supposed to separate your rice paper when you're wanting only portions of it. Okay, I've got my wet paint pen here. You can use the paintbrush and just dab it in some water, whichever way you want to do it. So I'm just going to drag this up through here and get it to rip like a nice organic looking rip. Make sure you have water going in it. I want to thank everyone for coming to visit and seeing what's going on today. And it's a nice snowy day here today. So I hope all of you have better weather or fair winds, things like that, because it is not looking good for us for another day or two. So keep warm, stay well and healthy. I know Miss Tommy, Paper Crafting with Miss Tommy, has not been feeling well lately. I told her I feel like she's been sick since the beginning of the year. Now, did I not add enough water? I've never done this before, so I'm really just winging it here. All right, let's see how that worked. I really got it sopping, I can tell you that. So let's see if we can rip it from the bottom up. There we go. It's starting to come apart now. It's got little pieces of like fibers and threads and things in there, so it's got a lot of texture if you're able to rip it this way. Okay, there we go. And that's what we got. See that little piece there sticking out? It's kind of neat the way these are made. Okay. Okay, now I told you I wasn't going to do much with this, but I do want to add a little spritz and flick technique to get a few nice spots working there. So that will give me like a nice aged look, I believe. So I'm going to let them kind of percolate there a little bit. And then I'll get back in here. I think I would like one like right up in there. There. Then you can just get in here with a paper towel or however, and you just kind of lay it over it and just kind of rub it. Oh, see there. Now, hopefully this is going to show. There we go. That little bit of water wasn't going to do that much to this paper, so I knew it wasn't going to break it down. And see, that's what we get. We get a little bit of an age spot technique going there. I really like that. And we're going to use my newly acquired rice paper glue. Now, this Vicky, she uses this stuff for everything. All kinds of gluing that she does. She says it'll work every which way you want. Now this has got little tabs on it that I can start pulling up. Let me get this off real quick. Gosh, those little birds out there have almost totally annihilated what I filled the feeder up with right before it snowed on Monday evening. Oh, good grief. Now, I'm going to put these both on here, and then I'll cut this at 6 and 6. So what I just want to do is I'm going to be covering up most of this whole side here. And I don't want to get it outside of onto my board here, so I'm going to use this to help put this down with. And yeah, I'm going to have to, I've seen the crows. I threw some bread out for my crows earlier, and then I had some more little birdies at the other feeder in the window. I've got one of those suction cup feeders, and some of the seeds will fall down to the deck below, so some of the little birdies can go down there and eat, and that kind of thing. All right, let's get this on here. Now, I was talking with Mom the other day. We were going to town, and she had an appointment, and we were just chatting, and she was, I think I'd ask her something about when she got with Dad. When she got with him, they moved out and lived with Grandma Rhoda for a spell. Now I'm going to go over top of this with the rice paper glue as well. But yeah, so they lived with Grandma Rhoda, and Mom wanted to be able to fix his breakfast and stuff for him before he went to work, and so she didn't know how to make gravy. And see, Dad at that point he only learned how to cook when he went into the service. He didn't know how to do it before that, but that's what he went into the service and became, is a cook, and he became an excellent cook. Everybody talked about his food all the time, and he learned under some great people there. We had another guy that was from our town, and he was an Italian. Now, it was a cool story for them, too, because this lady used to be our Spanish teacher. She was Italian, but she taught Spanish. And she had the family that lived here in Stanton. They had their own restaurant. Actually, I think several of them had restaurants, because there was 3 brothers that married 3 sisters. Is that how that worked? Something like that, yeah. And yeah, it was really cool. So they were, the one guy, Joe, was in the army with Dad, and he actually used to fix spaghetti. Now, the officers were too snooty to eat with the regular grunts, you know. But on the day that Joe was making his spaghetti sauce, they all came to the mess hall, because Joe, he made it the old-fashioned way. He went and he would cook those tomatoes all day. Then he would start adding his ingredients to it, let it keep cooking and marinating and blending all the flavors. And Dad said, boy, they were just all over the place waiting for that to come to be mealtime, because it was so good. And Joe must have learned from either his dads or uncles or somebody in the family, because they all had a restaurant, like I said, in town. And I think each one of them may have had a restaurant. They were that good. So anyhow, Dad, he kind of learned at that point how to cook, but Mom, her grandmother never taught her anything. Her grandmother took her away from her parents. Well, you know, her grandparents weren't much of a set to be raised by, from what I have heard. So her grandmother brought her over here to where I live in this town, and So Mom was not ever taught how to cook. This woman, who was a wonderful cook, I don't think she was much for kids, or anything. So she's kind of, I don't know. I forgot something over here. I might have to do that real quick. So yeah, Mom ended up having her Uncle Guy, or it was her uncle, and he was my great uncle, but we used to go see him all the time. But he had the mumps when he was young. So he was, and something about when you have the mumps sometimes, it will actually sterilize the man. So they're not able to have any children. So both him and his brother both had this condition, and neither one of them was able to have children, which was really sad because he would have made a wonderful dad. Both of them would have made wonderful dads. So, yeah. So Uncle Guy takes Mom, shows her how to make gravy. Mom says she did the best she could because, it's kind of hard. I had a little bit of a time learning, and once in a while my gravy still didn't turn out decent. Yeah, if you're from the South, you need to know how to make gravy. I'm not from the deep South. I'm just from Midwestern Virginia, but still, you want to know how to make gravy. And we mostly make milk gravy. That was my favorite. Milk gravy. Yum. So, let me see. There was something over here I wanted to do with this bird, and I'm hoping it's not too late. Let me get in here with my... I'm wanting to put a lamp in behind... Oh, and once it gets soft, it might be a lost cause. I wanted to put, and I did a little bit of a line here. Let's see if I can work that lamp in here now that if it's still wet. Now, if I have to, I can just put the lamp over top of this, and I won't be hurting nothing. In other words, if the bird goes, it tanks, There we go. All right, let's see if I can get that under there. Because I kept thinking, this is a big empty space, and I would like to have something there. And that's where I'd cut out these 3 pieces. And I have a little bear, and I don't think we're going to do that one. I think we're going to do the pink one. I think I'm putting the little kids on this one. So this is what I wanted to do. So let me get in here, and I'm going to use her idea of using the rice paper glue to glue the back side of this. And put that down real quick. Okay. See if I can do it without getting it everywhere. Woo! See if I can tuck it in there. So yeah, Mom got to learn how to do the gravy. She got to make it for Dad. Now I do know that there was trouble because Grandma still wanted to make Dad's breakfast, and so there was a little bit of a fight, not exactly a fight, a competition, let's put it, between Grandma and Mom to get up to make Dad's breakfast. Now, he would go to a store in town, Leo's, and he would get his sandwich meat and stuff. Now, Grandma, she made the same old all the time. She was always making like gravy or like country ham biscuits, egg and sausage biscuits, sausage, that kind of thing. And not exactly a sandwich kind of a scenario. So Dad would go and buy bologna and stuff that he wanted Mom to make his sandwiches out of for his work. And this is when he was in the masonry. He was learning how to become a mason, and he was working for a couple of guys at one point, and he was working hard, and he wanted he wanted some meat. I forgot I wanted to add these little kids on here, so I'm going to use this glue as well. I went and cleaned my brush, and I thought, no, I still need it. Yeah, so so Mom would get up to make his breakfast. There's Grandma. She's already up, crack of dawn, made breakfast, ready to go. So Mom would get up a little earlier the next morning. Same thing. Grandma had already beat her up. And it was just that was how it continued. And then Dad had to finally just sit down and tell his mom. He says, I want Snooky, which is what he called Mom. I want Snooky to fix my breakfast for me. She's my wife. He says, I've bought some stuff for her to use. And he said, I want her to fix my breakfast. I know that had to hurt. She had been taking care of him. He was the youngest, so he was the last. And he stayed with her, you know, the longest, I guess you would consider. So the poor thing, she had to just back off and let Mom do the meal and everything. I think I'll put this little teddy bear back here. I think I'm going to stick him like right there. That wouldn't hurt anything. He doesn't stand out very much from them, but that's okay. So, yeah. But when Mom moved in, she said Grandma didn't have any curtains on. Now, this was a sawmill shanty, the house that Grandma lived in. And, yeah, it was a sawmill shanty that was just like 2 rooms. And then they added on like a kitchen and another couple of rooms. I don't know if it was Mr. Dodson that Grandma married, and they moved in there and bought it together, that built these rooms or what. I couldn't remember. It's one of those things I didn't ask. You know, I forgot to ask. So, yeah, it was a bunch of just like a couple of rooms, and that was it. I'm going to put this little flower on here, hoping it'll brighten this up a bit. And I had a little bit of leaves. But she didn't have anything on the windows, in other words. And so Mom had some curtains that one of her aunts had given her. And they actually, Mom took some wire hangers. Back then, that's about all you had, you know. But she took some wire hangers and bent them out and made curtain rods out of them. And that's how they they got curtains. Yeah, so it was kind of interesting, all these things that she was telling me. Okay, I got me a little paper to go behind here, because next we're going to go in with the Distress Ink Scorched Timber and see about just kind of finishing the edges. I don't know if I want to do it that way or like that. Maybe like this. But we're just going to kind of go over top of that. And once I cut this in half, I'll probably do the same thing there. We have to do some stamping on here next. And then I'm going to get it ready. I got to do this little sign for the antiques. That's going to be heat embossed. So, there we go. I couldn't decide whether I wanted this one or the mannequin. I think I got to cut that edge off a little bit. The dress form, I mean. I just couldn't decide for a while which one I liked the best. They were also really pretty. They have such a vast array of talented, I couldn't get that word out, artists that work for them. Yeah, it's amazing what they come up with. I've wondered about getting that Nutcracker one. And I might get it just to have on hand for going into next Christmas season. I really liked how that one looked. I don't know what I'll do with it, whether it'll be art journaling or what. But I thought that was pretty. Now I'm going to just take this one. I like it because it's a delicate script. It's not chunky. Ugh. And it's wide, so I could get more coverage with it. But I think I'm going to go in there with the Vintage Photo Distress ink here. And I'm going to hold it in my hands. I don't forget which way I tore it off. I think it was this way. Yeah, I see a lot of people do it this way. I'm wanting just kind of like a little background kind of a stamp. Yeah, that's good. I don't want it very bold. But I'm wanting it to help kind of bypass this ripped edge. To kind of give it a cohesive look. Yeah, I really like that. It's got enough of a script there that you can make out its words, but it's also pretty and delicate as well. All right, let's do that to the other side. Go over here. Didn't get very much at the bottom, so let's do that. Yeah. I don't know that it actually goes over the rice paper. I believe it does. Yeah, it does. Actually, when you do the rice glue, the rice paper glue, or you use collage medium, it's kind of like a clear gesso in a way, because you're prepping it the rest of the page for stuff to be able to be put over it. Other colors, other mediums, things like that. So it really helps. And I'm going to go up here at the top. Add a little bit like right in here. And over here. So I feel that needs something. Yeah. And let's not have the bottom one fill out of place, because we're going to do the same thing down there. Yeah. Good job. Okay. I'm happy with that. That can go away. I didn't have enough really on there to clean it, so we'll just do that. The next thing we're going to do is our sign. And we're going to have it almost all the way ready to be cut in half. I just need to know where to put the sign. I'll make it, I'll cut it, and then we'll put the sign on here. How about that? Alright, these are the two pieces that I had from that ephemera pack I got at Michael's the other week, and they both nest together. I'm going to go ahead and put these together. And yeah. Did I tell you I saw this movie the other day? I've been wanting to watch it. I think I may have told you about it, but it was at 65. I'd seen it advertised for the movies. Anything to do with dinosaurs, you know, I'm all into. But it was I thought it was about the future, but it's actually about the past. It was very odd. That dude, well, Ren was the girl from the new Star Wars movies. Cal Ripko or whatever. I can't remember who the bad guy was. So anyway, this movie he starred in. And boy, they didn't go and spend a lot of money on the cast, because they didn't have any. It was like 4 people. 2 of them were like just bit parts, because one was a daughter that they had recordings of, And then the wife, she just had one little part or two where it was his memories, you know. So anyway, it was a pretty good movie. I have to admit, I enjoyed it. I'm thinking it showed a Tyrannosaurus. It had a few other weird dinosaurs, but it was the very end of the Triassic, I guess it is, or is it Jurassic? It was the last thing before the the comet hit, and it killed all the dinosaurs. It was that because a comet. He was flying a ship that had all of these people on it. I don't know what they were, scientists, whatever, or if he was just taking them from point A to point B, but they were all in cryo sleep, and all of a sudden, a meteor. They get into a meteor field, and they hit one of the meteors just disables the ship, and then they start to go down into a atmosphere of some local planet that they're just flying by, and the ship like disintegrates almost around them. it it takes all of the cryo chambers and flings them out into wherever they were landing. He didn't know. The ship didn't even know where they were landing. So they ended up, he thought he was the only one left because he was checking all the vitals on the computer. And yeah, everybody seemed to be dead. And then he finally gets a reading about this one thing, one person being alive, and end up being this little girl. Well, his daughter, his actual daughter, she actually died. She had cancer, and he took that job so he could get the money for her to go and get treatment, which didn't help. And so I don't know if he was thinking of this little girl as, how he could help his daughter in some way. So it was kind of sad. And oh well. let me get to heating this, and we'll be right back. Okay, now this has got a little bit of, it feels like it's a little damp still in certain places, but mostly it's dry. So I think we're okay to get in here and cut it. So I'm going to tuck it under here, and we're going to go to the 6. And I'm going to cut it right in half. Make sure everything's straight. It's not. Trying to line up here. Oh my goodness. Like I said, I'm reading my Twilight movies, or Twilight books again. Now I'm going to be cutting part of this little bear off. And I think I'll be okay. I can still see part of this shelf, or chest of drawers, whatever it is. But, you can't really tell what that is. So I don't think we're going to hurt anything. Plus, you get most of the bear there. Now, I am going to go back in and finish off these edges here with the scorched timber. So let's get that going. And it looks like I got a little bit of a wet spot there. I think that'll be okay. Yeah. Because this is going to be I probably wouldn't even have to put the ink on here, to tell you the truth. I think I'm either going to put a piece of lace, a piece of, ribbon, satiny ribbon that would be wide enough to cover the spine. I want to do something like that. So this is just in case, or just for my, OCD-ness. I haven't been, given the term of OCD, but I feel like I am a lot of times. Now here is our sign, and after I got it all heated up. Everything kind of matches. I think it's pretty pretty. All right, now I was hoping I'd have enough room up in here for this, and I think I do. So I want to put the antiques right up there at the top. I think it goes in with everything. I think that looks good. We're just going to go ahead and put it on there. I don't know whether I'd rather put it on there after the fact. Let's think about it. And I think I might want to go with fabric tack instead. Okay, where is my... Here it is. Now, I had some washi tape that was, it sort of has an antique-y look to it. I mean, it's got like tickets and passports and wallets and a camera. Had a camera on it. So I just wanted something to strengthen those two seams. Now, out here is going to be held together with that cloth. So I think that'll work. So we are just going to leave it open, and we're going to see about gluing this down. And we're just going to go on there like this. I don't think that I need to put anything over this end, but if I do, it'll probably just be a strip of scrap of some type, and that's all I'm going to use. Just so it doesn't show through on my satin ribbon or lace or whatever I end up putting there. I don't really know that I've got a lace that's that wide, to tell you the truth. I may be able to scarf something out of my scrap bin, though. You never know. Oh my goodness. I'm wondering how everybody is enjoying the art journal stuff. I'm thinking I might want to do one once a week with everyone. I might do a few offline. I don't know. I want to play with something. And, you know, sometimes you just don't want to have to think. And, you know, things with a journal, a lot of times you have to think and go in steps and stuff like that, and sometimes it's not all that fun. When it starts to become feeling like it's a job, and sometimes it does. I'll tell you right now, sometimes it does. Now I'm going to get this. Oh gosh, well, what size is this? It's not all the way up to the top or bottom. Look at that. What happened? Shoo. Okay, so I had to get in there really quickly and get some tea-dye paper. I don't know why this... Who is not 12 inches? Oh, it's this paper. It is not 12 inches. I thought it was a 12 by 12. Well, my bad. Okay. So anyhow, I went ahead and put some tea-dye paper, coffee dyed, whatever you want to term it, at the top and bottom. So it would take up that little bit of space. And now we're going to go ahead and put our antique sign on here. And then we'll put the back paper on. And remember, I'm only halfway done with this. I'll probably put it under a heavy book so it can dry, because there's a lot of wet glue underneath of our paper, and I really don't want to warp this again. It's warped a couple of times already. So I'm going to put this right around up in here. I think that'll be perfect. And then I'm going to put me a weight on it. Actually, let me put a whole weight on it. Now I use this sometimes when I have a large area to cover, so we'll do like that, and hopefully that'll flatten all the areas. Now we'll get to working on our back cover, and you can see I've already got a little strip up here and a little wider strip down here, because I'm going to try to emulate the same positioning. That one didn't have a very big top. Now I do have a little bit of a piece sticking out there that's probably still wet. Okay. Whew, this paper says I've had it. I've had it. Give me a break. Let me rest. Those little birds are out there fighting right and left. I had a pretty little red finch they're on the one with the suction cups on the window, the dining room window. They're trying to get on the top of the box, and it's like one little plastic shape. And I don't think there's anything up there for them to land on. But a pretty little red finch, he was trying to get up there the other day. Had a little red breast on him. I've seen some nuthatches, and I've seen some bunch of wrens are out there now, or what I call a wren. And Mom has a ton of the yellow finches down there, but then she puts out specific food for them. She has the different little tiny seeds. I got one that was for songbirds, and I have no clue if that's even the right kind to have, or because I figured my cardinals would be one of my main things to feed. I did see some woodpeckers, so of course this food had some larger seeds in it, nuts, and something else was in there. So I was trying to patronize the certain birds that I knew would be landing out there. I don't think they're too picky at this time. They hungry. They were saying, "Feed me, feed me." Okay. Okay, so I went ahead and covered this because, you know, it was kind of distracting, the red and green. So here is our cover. And I'm going to go ahead, like I said, and leave it flat and flatten it under like my cutting board. This is how I usually do it. I'll take this little board and lay it on top, and then I'll put a heavy, heavy book on it, and that'll keep that baby flat. And it will get that little bit of ripple out of it. Now, I did find this, instead of a lace or anything, I didn't really see anything that worked, but the golds and the burnishing and all of that, I think would look really pretty with that. And I can just lip it over just a little bit and have sort of a rawy kind of an edge on it on both sides. Yeah, I think that'll work for me. I'm going to do my usual hidden signature, so I'm going to be sewing the signatures, however many I've got, to a board that will then be glued down in here. I still have to find a cover for on here, and I'm probably going to make sure all my edges are down after we get off of here. And I will probably, after it's all dry and flattened, I'll go around it with probably a brown alcohol marker, or just a regular marker, but in a brown shade. So we'll have a nice edge on it. Right now it's like craft colored, which isn't bad, but you know, I think I might want something darker. Okay, I hope everybody enjoyed what they got to see today. I know you'd been wanting to see how I was going to go along with this antique journal. And like I said, I'm going to do the other few pages with the rice paper with the same kind of concept. Like down the middle and on the back of those papers that I already picked out. That kind of thing. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me do you some close-ups here. I always forget to do close-ups. So, as you can see, the little children are in their toy room. They have they have a bear. It's about all the toys that they've got. But I really like how this this kind of splatter. I didn't do any other kind of splatters on here. I did think about it that we might end up doing that. Let's do that. We're going to use some distress ink in the vintage photo. See if that works. I don't want too many, just something through the center here is about all I want. Let's see what we can do with this. It might not be deep enough, but we will see. I don't think it's loud enough. I think it needs to have something else on here. Might be I need to use a re-inker. This spray bottle is kind of sad. I bought a new one. I might have to start using it. Yeah, that's not doing nothing. Well, I got a little bit of my re-inker out, but I think I've got too dark now. But we're going to just keep going over it and see what we can do here. A little bit up there, a little bit there. I'll use the rest of these splatters on something else. Okay. That'll work. Oh, I don't want it on the bear. Anywhere you don't want it, wipe it off really quick. You can also put little pieces of paper and such across here. Now, since I kind of treated this background, it didn't take to it too fast. Okay, now I'm going to say goodbye. Everyone have a great day. I'll see you again soon. Thanks to all my subscribers and viewers. Bye-bye.